ready to share a new story? Well, I have chosen a book from the Messy Marvin and Friends series. The title is Cheery Clairey's Winter Wonderland. If you have this book at home, you can read along with me. The author, the person who has written this story, is Cheryl M. Charles. And the illustrator, the person who has drawn all the pictures, is Laurentiu Dimitra. Now in this book we're going to meet Cheery Clairey. I wonder how she got her name. Well, we're going to learn that Cheery Clairey has moved from Trinidad to Canada. Cheery Clairey is going into a new school and she's a little bit worried. I wonder, do you think she'll make lots of new friends? Shall we read and find out? Cheery Clairey's Winter Wonderland. Chapter 1. Who is Cheery Clairey? Cheery Clairey was a happy girl with a cute smile. At school, she joined the soccer team and the after-school math club with some of her classmates. She took piano lessons on Saturday mornings and she loved her Sunday afternoon karate classes. Cheery Clairey also enjoyed drawing and painting like her friend Chatty Patty. Clairey often created beautiful artwork which she framed and hung on her bedroom walls. Cheery Clairey gave some of her favourite pictures to her classmates as gifts. And she also made beautiful birthday cards which she mailed to her family and friends in Trinidad. Clairey enjoyed reading every night at bedtime. She liked flipping through the pages of the World Atlas. Inside, there were lots of coloured maps of countries around the world. While she read, she also learned many interesting facts about places far away. Clairey hoped that she could travel the world one day and visit some of the exotic countries she could only read about in her atlas. Cheery Clairey's parents gave her a brand new sparkly blue bike for her birthday. It had sturdy tyres so she could ride on bumpy trails. After her surprise gift, the family drove to the bike shop so Clairey could try on bike helmets and pick out elbow pads, knee pads and a bell to put on her bike handle. Mom and Dad wanted her to be safe at all times. Cheery Clairey also loved playing with her friends at the nearby park. She liked the swings the best. There were tall trees and lots of open space to run around and play tag. Chapter 2. Cheery Clairey's Big Move. Cheery Clairey flew on an aeroplane for the first time last summer when she and her parents moved to Canada. Clairey was so excited. She asked her mom to take a selfie of their family as they set out on their new adventure. Her family had moved from a tropical island called Trinidad, where there was no winter, no ice and no snow ever. It didn't have 4 seasons like Canada. Instead, Trinidad and Tobago had 2 seasons, the rainy season and the dry season. The family arrived in Canada in early September. They looked forward to their new life. Clairey was thrilled when they arrived at their new house. She looked around in wonder. Clairey and her parents only had a few days to unpack and get settled. Mom and Dad were starting their new jobs on Monday, and Clairey would be the new kid in class. Clairey was usually cheery and happy, but she was scared on the first day of school. Instead of being thrilled about her big day, she felt frightened. Clairey wondered, will I make new friends? Will the kids be as kind as my friends back home? Will I like my new teacher? Will I like my new classroom? Will there be lots of art supplies and good books to read? Chapter 3. The New Kid in Class. There were so many new things to worry about that Clairey didn't feel very cheery that morning as she got ready for her first day at her new school. She dressed slowly, and when it was time to leave home, she looked sad and worried. Clairey missed her friends back in Trinidad. Clairey dragged her backpack across the living room floor as she and her dad made their way to the front door. Chatty Patty asked to be the classroom buddy who would meet Clairey at the office that first morning. Patty chatted on and on about how great their school was, how nice the teachers were, and how much fun they were going to have together. She couldn't wait to learn new things this year. Patty shared that she had been the new kid in class when her family moved a few years ago. She was starting kindergarten at the time, and Patty explained that she was frightened on her first day at school. She thought that she wouldn't fit in or make new friends, but Patty was wrong. Chatty Patty said their classmates were super friendly and they gave each other funny nicknames. Clairey hoped Patty was right and that she was about to meet a great bunch of kids who were kind. She also hoped that they wanted to learn and have fun as much as she did. By the time the girls got to their classroom, Cheery Clairey felt less worried. Her tummy still felt funny and her heart was beating fast, but she liked Chatty Patty and she was beginning to think that she would like her new teacher, Miss Taylor, her new classroom and the other kids as well. Chapter 4. Cheery Clairey's first winter. The weeks seemed to fly by quickly and the seasons changed as summer turned into fall and fall turned into winter. One morning, Clairey woke up, looked out her window and saw snowflakes gently from the sky. She looked out at the winter wonderland outside with awe. Cheery Clairey had never seen snow before, and she couldn't help but smile. Clairey couldn't wait to get to school so she could play in the snow with her friends. At the end of the school day, Cheery Clairey walked with her friends Messy Marvin, Chatty Patty, Hungry Hannah, Grumpy Grace, Big Bub, Sporty Scotty, Tired Terry and Picky Paul. Cheery Clairey was very excited as the group made plans to meet on Saturday morning to play in the snow. Clairey was looking forward to her first winter in Canada. Cheery Clairey was the first to come up with a great idea. Let's go sledding. I have a new bright red sled and it goes downhill super fast. Patty loved the feeling of the snow and cold wind brushing against her cheeks. She thought this would be a fun way to spend time together. The other friends heard the girls making plans and they quickly joined in on the conversation. Paul was not thrilled about the idea of sledding downhill at top speed. What if our sled goes over a big rock and we fall into the freezing snow? That doesn't sound like fun to me, complained Picky Paul. Big Bub thought that it was a fantastic idea. I'm willing to meet you guys on the huge snow hill behind the park, especially if we're going to be playing and having fun. Besides, it will be great to be outdoors in the fresh air. Marvin chuckled as he imagined himself zooming downhill on his favourite sled. Picky Paul finally agreed. He knew the other friends often played games that he liked. Now it was his turn to join in on the fun activities that his friends chose. Tomorrow was supposed to be an even colder day, so Grumpy Grace decided that staying home and curling up with a good book in front of the warm fireplace would be a lot more fun than freezing outside. Messy Marvin was happy because he hoped there might be some slush at the bottom of the hill. For Marvin, slush puddles were just as much fun as the water puddles and the mud puddles that he loved splashing into on rainy days. Hannah was the last friend to speak up. She had been munching on a granola bar while the other kids were deciding what to do for fun. Hungry Hannah mumbled, "Count me in," as she continued to munch on her yummy snack. Chapter 5. Getting Ready. Finally, it was Saturday morning. At Cheery Clairey's house, she was bubbling over with excitement. She loved weekends. Clairey wanted to play in the fresh snow, and of course, she always loved playing with her friends. Cheery Clairey was in such a hurry to leave that Mom had to remind Clairey to put on her soft and fuzzy red earmuffs. At Marvin's house, he couldn't find his mittens or his earmuffs. He'd thrown them into the coat closet after school the day before, and now they were hidden behind some other winter clothes. His parents found him standing in front of the open closet. He was flinging coats, hats, and his mom's scarf over his shoulder. There was a messy pile on the floor behind him, but his mom and dad smiled as they came closer to help. Big Bub and Sporty Scotty went to meet with Picky Paul at his house. Paul didn't want to feel cold, and he didn't want to get wet. So he put on his winter jacket, his puffy winter vest, his thick snow pants, his earmuffs, his scarf, his mittens, and a pair of warm winter boots. Paul's mom looked on with a smile. It had snowed the night before, and she was happy that the boys were joining their friends for some winter fun. At Hannah's house, Hannah and her parents were busy in the kitchen packing snacks for her friends. They didn't want anyone to get hungry while the kids were playing. The family packed a bag of carrot sticks, a bag of red licorice, a bag of red cherries, and a bag of mini chocolate brownies. Hannah started putting the treats into her backpack. There, now I have enough food for everyone, she thought to herself. Chatty Patty stopped by Hannah's house so they could walk to the park together. Hannah put on her new blue mittens. She also grabbed her long brown wooden sled. Perhaps she could share it with one of her friends. Once Hannah felt that she was dressed warmly enough for the cold winter weather, she and Patty rushed out the front door. Chapter 6: Snow Angels. Cheery Clairey was the first friend to arrive. While she waited for the others, Clairey flopped down into the soft, fluffy snow and started moving her arms and legs to make a snow angel. She couldn't wait for the other kids to arrive. Cheery Clairey smiled as she thought about her family and friends in Trinidad. She missed them every day, and she wished they could be on top of the snowy hill with her. Clairey was sure they would love the snow. She could only smile when thinking about how much they would enjoy meeting her new friends and trying these fun winter activities. As Cheery Clairey lay in the snow, she remembered her first day of school and walking into the classroom with Patty a few months ago. She also remembered feeling scared and nervous. It didn't take very long for her to make new friends. The kids were all kind and funny. They were all different, but they cared about each other. The friends friends liked Clary very much because she always seemed happy. So they decided to give her the nickname Cheery Clairey because she usually had a bright smile on her face. In the distance, she could hear the laughter of her friends as they trudged up the snowy hill. Sporty Scotty wanted to race, but the other kids found it hard to run while wearing heavy winter clothes, carrying their backpacks and lugging their sleds uphill. Sporty Scotty was the first friend to flop down next to Cheery Clairey, while the other kids put their sleds and backpacks aside. The pair lay in the snow and looked up at the clear blue sky. Their arms and legs swooshed back and forth as they made snow angels. Marvin, Terry, Bub, Hannah, Patty and Paul wanted to make snow angels as well. It was cold on top of the snow-covered hill, but the kids didn't mind. When Paul and Terry were done, they stood up to admire their beautiful angels. Chapter 7. Building the perfect snowman. "Let's make a snowman," said Big Bub. "We can make it as big as we want because I am the tallest and I can put the hat on the top of the snowman's head." The friends thought this was a great idea and they began to scoop up handfuls of snow from the ground. Then they started packing the snow tightly to make perfectly round snowballs. Messy Marvin and Piggy Paul were rolling the largest snowball for the bottom of the snowman. Unfortunately, Marvin was moving so quickly that he tripped and fell into the fluffy snow. When Messy Marvin looked up, he had small clumps of snow resting on top of his curly hair. Paul laughed and reached out to help Marvin to his feet. Paul said, "Don't worry, let's keep going. There's lots of snow all around us and we can make the snowball even bigger." Tired Terry needed to rest, so she took a seat on the nearest bench. Terry watched Clary and Hannah as they made a medium-sized snowball for the snowman's tummy. They rolled their snowball around until they thought it was just the right size. Hungry Hannah could hear her tummy rumbling, and she knew that it was almost time for her after-breakfast snack. Luckily, she had some cherries to munch on, and she offered a handful to Clary and Terry. The girls watched Big Bub and Chatty Patty walk past. Bub was carrying the snowman's head carefully. He didn't want to drop the snowball and ruin it after all of their hard work. The kids were all excited and everyone gathered around to watch Marvin and Paul put the largest snowball in place. When Marvin and Paul were done, Hannah and Clary placed the tummy on top of the bottom snowball. Then they moved it around until it was in just the right spot. Next, Big Bub placed the smallest snowball on the top of the snowman's tummy. Once the head was in place, the kids stood back and admired their hard work. Hannah and Clary were so impressed and they clapped joyfully. Chapter 8. Dressing the Perfect Snowman. Chatty Patty spoke up first. What will we use to make the eyes, the nose and the mouth of our snowman? He will also need buttons for his coat and sticks for his arms. Hannah blinked and then smiled. The group could use the treats that Hannah packed that morning for their afternoon snack to decorate the snowman. Hungry Hannah pulled out the bags of treats from her backpack to show her friends. The kids used a carrot stick to make the nose. They used red licorice to make the smiling lips, 2 mini chocolate brownies for the eyes, and 5 cherries were perfect for the snowman's coat buttons. We're almost done, said Cheery Clairey. Now we need a hat for our snowman's head and a scarf to wrap around his neck. Terry took off her winter hat and handed it to Bub, since she was beginning to feel warm. She was already wearing her long winter coat, puffy snow pants, black mittens and her long red scarf. Picky Paul was beginning to feel hot under his many layers of winter clothes as well. He took off his fuzzy scarf and draped it carefully around the snowman's neck. Big Bub rubbed his chin and said, "Now we need arms for our snowman." Cheery Clairey's eyes lit up and she smiled as she remembered seeing a tree close by that had broken branches. Suddenly, Cheery Clairey turned and ran off at top speed, and Sporty Scotty decided to race after her. When the pair finally returned, they were carrying 2 broken branches. Clary and Scotty stuck the crooked branches into the sides of the medium-sized snowball, and now their snowman had arms and hands. The friends stood back and admired their wonderful snowman. They had worked as a team and they felt proud. Marvin spoke up and asked his friends if anyone could think of a good name for the snowman. Chatty Patty blurted out the name Snowy Blizzard, and all of the friends agreed this was the perfect name for their wonderful snowman. Chapter 9. Hot Chocolate. Cheery Clairey's parents arrived just after the kids finished putting the finishing touches on their snowman. They called the kids over to a nearby picnic table. Clary's mom and dad knew the kids would get cold and thirsty while playing in the snow, so they surprised them with hot chocolate. Dad pulled 3 thermoses of yummy hot chocolate from his tote bag. Clary's parents also had a bag of tiny marshmallows and cups for the kids, which they placed on the picnic table. Of course, the friends couldn't wait for their warm, delicious treat. Some of the friends sat around the picnic table and snuggled close together. They sipped their delicious hot chocolate with tiny marshmallows that floated on the top. When the kids were finished, everyone thanked Clary's mom and dad for the tasty hot chocolate as they waved goodbye. Messy Marvin licked the last of the sweet, sticky marshmallow from his lips, while hungry Hannah stuffed a handful of marshmallows into her mouth. Chapter 10. Sledding. The kids' tummies were full and their bodies felt toasty warm after drinking the hot chocolate. Now it was time to walk over to an even bigger snowy hill so they could go sledding. Paul was having so much fun with his friends that he was no longer worried about his sled sliding over a big rock and falling into the freezing snow. He decided that if he fell off his sled, this would just be part of the fun. Sporty Scotty was leading the group as he raced up the steep hill at top speed. The other friends tried to catch up while dragging their sleds behind them. They were huffing and puffing as they made their way to the top. Cheery Clairey grabbed Paul's hand and they ran up the hill as they tried to keep up with the rest of the group. Cheery Clairey was so excited. She decided they should form teams and have a sledding race to see who would reach the bottom of the hill first. The kids started to get into pairs for the big race. Messy Marvin buddied up with Big Bub. Marvin looked at the bottom of the hill, hoping to see lots of messy slush. But sadly, there was only a blanket of soft snow. Oh well, he thought to himself, maybe if it warms up, the snow will start to melt and turn into slush puddles. Cheery Clairey pointed to their snowman, Snowy Blizzard, down below, and she couldn't help but smile as she admired the winter wonderland that surrounded them. Chapter 11. Ready, set, go! All the kids zoomed down the hill at top speed. Cheery Clairey and Picky Paul rode on Clary's bright red sled, while Big Bub and Messy Marvin raced along on Bub's green sled. Hungry Hannah and Chatty Patty were smiling and laughing all the way down the hill on Hannah's wooden sled. Tired Terry hung onto Sporty Scotty's shoulder as the wind whipped past their faces. They screamed and laughed with delight on Scotty's blue sled. The friends changed teams many times. They raced down the hill again and again. Clary took a break to watch the kids. She enjoyed seeing them smile and hearing their screams, giggles and laughter. Clary took a moment to remember her friends and family back in Trinidad. She missed her cousin Rashad every day, and she hoped that someday soon he and the rest of her family could visit her in Canada. It had been a fun day for everyone. Cheery Clairey asked if the friends would like to go ice skating next weekend. Everyone agreed happily. The kids waved to each other as they left the park and headed for home. Cheery Clairey and Messy Marvin enjoyed the warm sun on their faces as they walked along. Marvin's eyes lit up when he found a slush puddle on the sidewalk. He jumped in with both feet. Finally, his wish had come true. Whether it was winter, spring, summer or fall, Messy Marvin loved puddles. Clary walked along quietly. She thought about the last few months and she felt lucky. She loved the snow and she loved winter. She loved her teacher, her classroom and all of her awesome friends. Cheery Clairey was happy and she was looking forward to her new life in Canada. Oh, what a wonderful Winter Wonderland story that was! I so enjoyed meeting Cheery Clairey. I hope you did. She made lots of new discoveries, moving from Trinidad to Canada, flying on a plane, seeing snow for the first time. And even though she was a little bit worried about starting a new school, she made lots of new friends. And they were all so different from diverse backgrounds. But what a wonderful friendship group they made. I liked the way as well that they worked as a team to build their snowy blizzard snowman. What great teamwork that was. Now, also in the back of this book, do you remember Messy Marvin? Well, he is very clever because he wrote a poem for Cheery Clairey. Shall we read? Cheery Clairey's Big Move. Our friend Cheery Clairey rarely feels sad or teary, but when she moved away from home, Clary feared that she may be scared and all alone. Wow! Her first time on a plane, flying through the air, was really quite insane. She was travelling with Mom and Dad, so she was happy and not feeling very sad. A new class, her first winter and new friends. Now the excitement never ends. At top speed, we'll swoosh down snowy hills. There are oh so many winter thrills. Let's build a snowman. We'll each lend a hand. He'll be dressed from head to toe, and his body will be made of fluffy winter snow. How clever is Messy Marvin? Well, also in the back of this book, there are some follow-up questions that will help you to recall some of the things in the story, and you can talk about them with your family and friends. And there are some art activity ideas. What fun they'll be. I hope you've enjoyed today's Shed Time story. And if you want to, you can like, share, follow and subscribe to Shed Time Stories. And then you will be ready for the next book for us to share together. Bye-bye.